Fastline Auctions, the ultimate destination for online farm equipment auctions. Looking to list equipment? Fastline Auctions knows farmers, and farmers have trusted Fastline for their equipment needs for over 45 years. With unmatched digital reach and direct-to-farmer catalogs, they can find the right buyer for your equipment. Not to mention, they have the industry's lowest commission rates. If you're looking for equipment to buy, you can bid with confidence. No buyer premiums, no reserves, just integrity. Fastline Auctions, your trusted platform for hassle-free, cost-effective farm equipment auctions. Visit fastline.com for more information. That's fastline.com.
Stories behind the ag brands we love and the ag brands we love to hate. What color is your tractor? With Chrissy Wozniak.
Hi, I'm Chrissy Wozniak, and welcome to What Color is Your Tractor? The company we're talking to today sports a shade of green and was founded in Spelle, Germany in 1906 with the intention of making farming more efficient and profitable. Still owned by the same family, the hay and forage giant Krone is our focus. Welcome, Jim Mandes, the Northern Region Sales Manager of Krone North America. Thank you so much for joining me today, Jim.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
So what is your background and how long have you been with Krone?
I have a lifetime in sales, but not in agriculture. I joined Krone in 2012 and really started my journey in ag in 2003. So what you have in me is pretty much a sales professional who found a love in ag, and I don't foresee ever leaving the industry. I love it.
Yeah. And you hear that a lot. People that, kind of end up down the road in jobs in agriculture and then just fall in love with the industry, right?
Well, yeah, friends of mine, I have had some job changes, some brought on by others by me. And my friends are like, I'm pretty much a city guy. There's sidewalks where I live, and I have to take my yard waste to a dump. So I don't live in the country. I don't have 30 acres. Okay. And my friends feel like, what's with you in agriculture? And I've said this numerous times and they get it. I love the people that I trade with, the people I manage, my competitors I love. I love the producers. They're such a salt of the earth people. And I spent some time in construction, heavy duty truck, and some web applications. And I really found a home in ag because I just felt like it's so grounded. And there's something noble in being part of a group of people that feed the planet. And it that higher meaning, it connects with me viscerally. I really, I love it. And I love the fact that we can laugh. I love to laugh. I laugh every day. Even when things are going down the toilet, I laugh. So that's what I like.
Important these days.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And in Krone, I found a company that likes to smile, that likes to laugh, that believes a handshake is more important than a contract. That connects with me as well, especially in today's megalopolis dealer groups. It's refreshingly different. So that fits me as well.
That's awesome. So to the history of Krone itself, who started the company?
A fellow by the name of Bernard Krone and his wife, Anne. And this is before my time on this planet Earth, but it was 1906. They started a blacksmith shop and an inn in Spelle, Germany. And it's like northwest, out of the industrial center, if you will, of Germany. Even today, it's very rural where the plant is located. And they still produce farm equipment there today. And it's very humbly as a blacksmith shop, and the facility, the corporation is still located in basically the same properity.
Cool.
It grew immensely.
So why forage equipment? Why did they start there?
Well, I think it was a function of really being at the right place in the right time, which if you're a capitalist, you understand. Anybody that hears this can relate to the fact when there's a chance to reinvent something and you see it and you capitalize on it, you win. And that's what Krone did. And the revolution in mechanized agriculture, I think, we'd all agree probably started in the UK in the 20s and 30s. I think that's really where it started. And they saw that trend and they got on board, and they got into hay and forage because it seemed like a good place to be. And it's turned into the family passion, if you will. So Krone is bigger than just agricultural equipment. They also make over-the-road trailers, which represent about half of their revenue in a year.
Oh, wow.
Like some domestic brands you would know of, somebody like Tramobile or Great Dane or Utility, those kind of trailers, the big ones, not the one you pull behind your pickup, more like what brings the food to the grocery store or the lumber to the mill. So they don't market those trailers in the U.S., but that's a big chunk of the company, and ag represents about 37, 38%.
Wow.
So.
Wow, that's cool. So can you tell me about the early years of Krone, kind of what their direction was and where they're going and some of the decisions that they made in those early years?
Yeah, it's interesting. They're in the fourth generation now, and what you saw manifested over time was this family. When you have a single entity that owns a company and you're able to retain profit and reinvest it in the company, you combine that fact with a passion for hay and forage, what you ended up getting is an innovation, a series of innovations. Right. And they really found a niche in this company. We did, if I could say that better. We found a niche in innovating in hay and forage equipment. And we continue to innovate today. It's a passion. And we still are probably the leading manufacturer of a self-propelled mower that cuts up to 36 feet in one swath. For example, we did a lot of innovation in the square balers that were common in the industry today, the big ones. Got involved in round balers early. So there's lots of examples. And then within each product group in hay and forage, a lot of innovation in specific groups like mowers and rakes and tedders, where there's really a producer, if they're looking to purchase a rake or a tedder or a mower, they have a lot of choices of some really good companies. But when you look deeper into Krone, there's some significant engineering innovation that sets our products apart. I'm not going to bore the people that are on this podcast with those details. But suffice it to say that Krone has never been a company that really marketed its brand. It's more of a word of mouth company. And people buy one of our products and they'll buy a rotary rake, and then all of a sudden they're like, man, this is the best rake I ever had. I need a tedder. Let me buy a tedder. Or if you're in the South, they call that a fluffer. But basically what happens is people start getting exposed to a really well-made product, and it's very common that people end up having all their hay and forage in Krone because they come to rely on it. When the hay's down and the hay's got to come off the ground, I'm looking out the window now, it's raining. And, there's a certain pressure that goes with hay and forage. You really need to rely on your product or the value of your crop goes down the toilet really quickly. So, absolutely. So people come to trust us, basically. And the innovations that we've created over the years, they build that trust with our customers. And that's what leads one customer at church or at the diner to say, hey, I need a rake. What do you say? Oh, I have a Krone. I tried this brand or that brand, and this Krone's the best one I ever owned. And that's really what has driven our growth. Something as simple as that. I wish I could say it was due to people like me, but I can't take credit for that. So I hope I answered you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And when did the company start marketing in North America?
1972.
So it's been here for a while.
Yes. Yes, they have. They are global now. They're pretty much on every continent. We are a wholly owned subsidiary of the Krone MBK Corporation, but we're independently run here in North America. So we're headquartered in Olive Branch, Mississippi, and there's probably 120 employees running around North America supporting the brand. It's been quite a journey from in fact, it's a funny story. Really, when we started here, one of the people that really made Krone what it is today, his name is Rusty Fowler. He recently retired, but he was the first president of Krone North America. He came to us from International Harvester. And the first thing he was asked to do was to assess the North American market and where Krone was at up to that point. Up to that point, Krone had been just shipping stuff over here and just see what happens. They own some land over here. They come over and go, pheasant hunting, if you will. But it was really just like a vacation spot for the family. But they really started to see this country is vast. Basically, Germany's about the size of Texas, okay? You come to North America, I hate to tell you, but you're not going to see all your dealers in a day.
For sure.
So Rusty did an assessment, and very plain-spoken Tennessee gentleman, if you will. And I was fortunate enough to work for this fella. And honest as the day is long, but boy, was he direct. And he told the ownership in Spella that I recommend you just liquidate all your inventory and go back to just because it's going to cost too much to fix what you've already messed up. And they said, interesting. What would it take to do it right? Because he suggested basically that they pay him to eliminate his position.
Right.
You understand? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
But he's an honest, straight-spoken guy. And he said, it's going to take a huge investment. And he goes, well, what would it take? So Rusty told him. And it's been nothing but a wonderful relationship from that day forward, going from nothing to upwards of 110 million US a year, just because this family in Germany is passionate about doing it right. It's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's really how we started, and that's how we got to where we are today, from one employee, one guy, to what we are now. And I think some companies have grown faster than that, have more impressive figures. But we try to measure our success one customer at a time, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
that's really cool.
Things are going to go down the toilet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Things are going to go wrong. What separates companies is how they handle the problems, right?
Absolutely. I totally agree with that.
It's another, going back to why I love this company. That's another reason, because I feel the company has my back. Yeah. And that transcends to the customer. Their manufacturer has their back. The dealer feels that way. We have their back. And today, in this stockholder-driven world that we operate in, of these mega dealers where they don't even know your name anymore, Krone is a refreshing vacation, if you will, in my humble opinion.
Right. Yeah.
So,
and that means a lot. It means a lot to somebody stuck in the field, right? Needing to get done.
It is. And plus they want to feel heard too. If they're not experiencing what the product, I was on vacation last week and a customer called me. He didn't know I was on vacation. So I answered my phone. I'm sitting on the beach, Florida, and he's having trouble with a product and he doesn't know where he's going to go. And we're a flat organization. The president of our company in North America, he answers his phone. We all answer our phone. I don't think you can say the same for a lot of companies, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what we're about. We're about doing things right, you know, and really providing value to the producers need to find every little penny of efficiency. Sometimes you got to spend a little more for a product to get a more efficient result. You follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's what I like to call the difference between a purchase price and the cost of a product.
Right.
They're two very different things.
Very big difference.
Right. Yeah. So that's what our group does. We work to find opportunity. We work to find solutions and help people find better ways of doing things so they can put a couple more bucks in their pocket or maybe get back in the house a little sooner, basically. I hate to say it so simply, but it really comes down to that, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I find it really interesting that it's still in the same family. And so what do you think the impact has been on the brand because of that?
It's stability. I mean, when kids' parents stay together their whole life, it helps those kids develop into, it's a challenge. And, when these companies get bought and sold and they get consolidated and then you have to give money to the stockholders. And so that's less money that you can reinvest for research and development or quality control or production capacity. I think that stability connected with a focus and a passion for hay and forage have resulted in exceptional products, exceptional quality, and at the risk of sounding, I don't know what the right word is, but it results in really a group of people bringing that product to bear that really love what they do. It's not just Spell, it's not just the family, it's the engineers, it's the people that load the trucks in Olive Branch, it's the people that do the bills, it's the team I'm fortunate enough to manage that's out there visiting the dealers on the farms. It's the people picking parts. It's the whole package that delivers that value to the customer. And I think that family nature, where you're not trying to pull stockholder value out, where everybody has a name. And frankly, people work for this company for a long time for that reason, because it matters. You know, it matters. And, you know, so if someone's out, like, you know, some of the people that you know from our company, you know, they're passionate people. Even before they work for us, they come to Krone, and it's like they don't want to work anywhere else because it's such a great place to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because like, you're in this industry, you know, people that are forced to go down a road with a customer that they don't want to go. You know what I mean? Yes. It's uncomfortable. They have to tell them X. And I'm sorry, Mr. Customer. It's almost like they're a doctor telling someone they have cancer. You know, I'm very grateful that I work for a company where I really am not put in that position too often. Yeah. And that, you know, really helps with employee retention too. I've worked for manufacturers where you got to be the bad guy all the time. All the time. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And that's really common. And it feels like sometimes your sales force ends up being the bearer of bad news rather than, you know, the person who's there to help the farmer. Yeah. Yeah. And if you're good at what you do, your phone's going to ring. Yeah. Someone's going to send you an email, some stranger, and says, I have an opportunity for you, you know, and they show you funny, you know, I'm sure everybody that works on my team and a lot of people in this company, they could probably go somewhere else and make more. I think the reason why we get away from that is because we're a family. Even here in North America, we're a family. My last name isn't Krone, but people call me Jim Krone because that's the way we conduct ourselves. Yeah. I think it's a compliment, not an insult, to be considered that way. And, you know, I also think it's important that the group that I manage and all the people, I mean, we're always trying to develop our employees. So we promote from within, and we just have a really good culture that your first mistake isn't your last. Yeah. You know, we're all going to screw up. I could fill your podcast with my mistakes personally, but that's all in the journey of learning together. So, but that's the family nature of the company leads to stability. Plus, hey, I'm not a CPA, but let's talk about that for a second. Publicly traded company, how much money do they actually return and reinvest in a company? Yeah, that's a good point. I would venture to guess that Krone puts 4 times their net earnings into the company, and you do that for 121 years. Yeah, do you need a slide rule to figure that out? That was a joke. Slide rule. I wonder if people even know what that is anymore. But it makes a difference because it makes, I think, a more well-capitalized company is in a better position to support innovation and support the customer. It's important. Yeah, definitely. So you know what was the very first product that Krone manufactured? It's funny. I talk about how we're focused on hay and forage, but the first thing we made was a plow. Really? No way. Huh. Yeah. Our humble beginnings are very interesting. I'll put it to you like that. Yeah. And like any company, you just see how it evolves. I think when Amazon said they were going to do free freight with Amazon Prime, everybody said they were nuts. Yes. When FedEx said they were going to deliver packages around the planet overnight, everybody said they were nuts. So I'm certain when Krone, who was pretty much fooling with tillage, said we're going to get into hay and forage, I'm pretty certain there were some people in Germany who were like, you're nuts. But here we are today. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It was the right decision for sure. Yes. And I also think that this company has had opportunities to diverge into other areas, tillage, tractors, and they've resisted it because while they might have had the resources to go that direction, they felt it was more important to be focused.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of other people doing everything. And
Yeah.
when you're doing everything, you're doing good. You're returning value to your stockholders, but are you really bringing in? Do you innovate in every product group? Maybe they do. I just know at Krone we're focused on our hand forage, and it seems to have worked really well for us.
Yeah, so far so good.
Yep.
And
So
how many products do you sell now?
my employees are going to kill me, but I believe it's 66.
Wow.
I think I'm correct.
Yeah.
We don't bring everything that's manufactured in Spella here.
Mm-hmm.
Some things really don't fit the North American market too well.
Mm-hmm.
A good example is our big wagons. We bring a couple over a year, forage wagons.
Mm-hmm.
We don't bolt ours together; they're welded. And
oh wow, that sounds like a shipping nightmare.
Yes.
Yeah.
The cost of shipping air is a little too expensive right now.
Yes.
Let alone metal. So that's basically what you're going to ship. So we'll probably get a solution to that. I'm sure someday we'll grow big enough that we'll produce here in the U.S. Somewhere, or Canada, somewhere in North America. I think that's only a natural evolution. Please don't release that as a press release or I'll get fired. But
yeah.
I just think it's only logical. I have no knowledge of that. I just think it's only logical at some point that we would do some manufacturing in the U.S. Whether it's on my time in this planet or not, I don't know, but I think it'll happen someday. I'm certain.
Yeah, sounds like a natural progression for sure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Because really, when you look at the planet Earth, North America represents the greatest growth potential for Krone. Mm-hmm. And so it's only logical. Yeah. Just a matter of, to me, in my opinion, it's just a matter of when, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. And you guys have a really rich history of serving the industry. But how does modern Krone want to be seen in agriculture? I know you kind of touched on this here and there throughout this, but really, if you boil it down, how do you guys want to be seen?
Okay, at the risk of being redundant, I'm going to go on a little different tangent, and I think I just want to say that if we're going to distinguish ourselves in any way, we're not going to support or sell through the megapolis. That's not our methodology. We want to be close to the customer and close to the dealer, supporting the dealer. We want to be viewed as an innovator, and we want to be focused on our customer success. I believe in the Krone philosophy is if you're focused on the producer's success, then everything else falls into place. Mm-hmm. So if you're innovating, if you're making a really high quality product that's reliable, we believe that everything else falls into line behind that. Because ultimately, regardless of the size of a producer's operation, efficiency matters, reliability matters, downtime matters. Yeah. And those are universal themes no matter what continent you're on. And then when you add the fact that we're a family company that's really easy to do business with, I think those things, the confluence of those factors, generally leave people wanting to buy more products from us once they get one or two. Then they get three, then they get four. Next thing you know, their whole barn's full of our nice color, our color green. That's no offense to the other companies out there that are green, but like you started the podcast with, we're a different color green, but
that's right.
It's our color, and we're very proud of it.
Yeah, that's good. So you told me a bit about the first employee in North America. Are there any other really memorable people along the way?
As far as Krone employees?
Yeah.
Yeah, North America. Yeah, there's, like I said, we like to smile, we like to laugh, and there's some colorful stories, but there's also some good examples of the integrity in this company. Charles Ramsey, who our training center is named after. I never had the good fortune of working with this fella because he had retired before I started, but the legend of Charles Ramsey, that he would stop at nothing to support a producer. Wow. The early days of the round baler, it's just the countless hours, the weekends, he always answered his phone. He was always there. And he was such, from what I gather, again, I have never worked with this fella, but he was one of the sweetest people you would ever meet. He was just so kind, never had a crossword, patient as the day is long. Another guy that's a good story, right after Rusty joined, he brought another guy from International. And this guy was part of hiring me. A very unique person. His name's Gary Thompson. He's since retired. Very colorful fella. Very passionate, very intelligent. But yet he could get along and communicate, and to this day, with anybody. He's a real gentleman. But boy, working for the guy, I remember when I was interviewing for the job at the time, I was unemployed, and he called my wife. My wife's all excited because, I've only been, at the time, I was only unemployed for a week, and I was, we had 4 kids. I was the only game in town. So if I don't get a job, we die, So my wife calls me, and I wasn't home. She said, this guy called me, my friend, Mr. Gary. I get on the phone with the guy, and he tears me inside out.
Oh, wow.
I think you're overqualified. I don't think we should hire you. You're going to leave at the first offer. But yet he was so sweet and so funny, and he would do anything to support a deal. One time I missed a conference call in my current role, and my friendly friend, Gary, tore me up inside and out.
Really?
So it's just a really interesting guy. No one tells a funny story like Gary. Just a great guy. Another, probably a couple other people to mention that I still work with. My boss, Jody McCree. I'm not bringing his name up because he's my boss. It's just because he's head of our sales right now. But he basically started in marketing. He came from a family farm that raised eggs, and he's just a really interesting guy. Very patient, but funny. And the guy can do imitations. He can do an imitation of about any character in our industry. He's so good at it, and he'll get your gut laughing. But when he hired me, the ad said, no phone calls, please. So I'm a salesman. So what do? I call, because no phone calls to me means call. That's how I read that. Because if I can't get past a call screener, I'm not a salesman. So he answers the phone. I said, I want to talk to Jody. And he goes, you're talking to Jody. I said, you're talking. And I had never met a man named Jody before. Right. So I said, okay, well, I kind of offended you. So I guess we're done now. So we keep talking, and he ended up hiring me, and he advocated for me because we had trouble with representation in the Northeast, because we're a Southern headquartered company, and trying to plug Southern culture into the Northeast was, I don't know, was a little difficult. And he argued on my behalf because he thought, this guy talks like those people. Maybe he can do business up there. And, the rest is history. I was in the territory guy for a couple of years. Then I got promoted to my current role in charge of sales for the North. The other guy I want to mention, I have the good fortune of working with on my team. His name is Brent Rains. He's a little bit of an icon. He did a thing on RFD TV. It's available on YouTube, but you should watch it because it tells you a little deeper story about Krone. But Brent has been with the company almost 30 years now.
Oh, wow. If
it is 30 already, he's going to kill me for saying it wrong. But several decades with one company is impressive. And, he farms, and it's just, he is such a colorful guy and has his fingers in so many aspects of hay and forage, whether it's a cattle rancher or a dairyman. He's pretty well known in the industry, and he is funny. But to give you an idea of the family nature, and I think Brent wouldn't mind me going out of, he's done every job. He's done my job. I mean, he opened a warehouse in Reno, Nevada, moved out there. I mean, he's done it all. He's done every role in this company. But he had the misfortune years back of losing a child, a son, in a tragic accident.
Oh, that's awful.
And the next day, a dealer was at his door.
Oh, wow.
And the whole company rallied around this guy.
Really? Oh, that's incredible.
Because we're family.
Yeah.
And, we were at a show 2 years ago, and one of our coworkers died on the show. the Ohio Farm Science Review, had a heart attack and died. The
I was
CEO of our
there
company.
actually. Yeah. Yeah, I was there that day.
Richard Barrett,
Yeah.
a great man, a
Yeah.
personal friend of mine. I just renewed his vows. His pastor backed out, so he said, "Can you fill in?" I said, "Sure." If a bunch of Protestants and Baptists don't mind a Catholic doing this service, I'm there.
Yeah.
And I did it. And a great guy. But just another example, just like with Brent and his tragedy, Richard goes down and the CEO of our company is at his funeral.
Wow.
Krone North America. 3 days later, 4 days later, boom. There's 10 people from the company there helping his family with transition, everybody chipping in. Dan Witherspoon, our CFO, has been with us 30 years himself. What can we do to help his widow get through that tough time? The company rallied around him. And I could bore you with details like this, but these are the stories of our company, of our family. And that support comes from Spella. It's not a North American thing. This is a family culture of passion to win, shoulder to shoulder when we're losing. When the recession hit in 2008, nobody got laid off.
Really? Wow.
We don't do that. We find something for people to do, and you just don't hear that anymore. It's very weird. It's different. And, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I know what this company stands for. Yeah, this company stands for doing things the right way, and it's refreshingly different today. And I think it's reflected in our products, frankly. Yeah. So without getting too sappy for the people hearing this podcast, I got to tell you, when they hook their tractors to our implements, they can see the difference in Krone. Yeah. They see it in the quality of their hay and the amount of time it takes to get a job done. They see it when it comes time to trade it in, or when they look at their repair bills. Downtime's a killer, really is. And it's that delivered capacity that Krone does that makes us different. Because delivered capacity, what is it? It's the price you pay up front. It's the service time. It's what happens when you're down, And I'm really proud of the work we do. We have a great team in North America and in Germany. We work very well together. And I'm honored to work with these people. I really am. It's hard to put it any other way.
Yeah. Yeah. I know one of your employees, Aiden Russell, and he'll hate me for saying this, but you got to ask about when at the time he tied a deer to a pole on the side of the road. Hilarious story. I think that was the first day I met him. And oh man, he can tell a story.
Oh, I know he can tell a story. Aiden, I'm fortunate enough to work directly with him. And I'm going to ask him that.
Yes.
Because I love the way he tells a story. In fact, I look at our crew that I'm lucky enough to manage, and there isn't a single one on this group that is, they're all great storytellers.
Yeah.
And really, you're working. If you're not having fun when you're working, really, you got to reconsider.
What are you doing then, right?
Yeah, you got to. Because I'm like right now talking to you. I'm really enjoying this. This is my job.
Me too.
This is cool.
Yeah.
I dig it. I will ask him. He tied a deer to a pole.
Yes.
That'll get me there.
Story.
Okay, good.
He'll know exactly what you're talking about, and he'll know I told you.
You rest assured, I'm going to do that. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Anybody else out there too, when you meet him, make sure you ask about that story.
Okay, good.
So do you think what are some other things, or are there any other things that people wouldn't know about Krone?
Would you know that our original color was not green?
Really? I did not know that. What was it?
It was kind of like I don't know. It was like Kubota orange gone bad.
Oh.
Putrid.
That sounds terrible.
Kind of like a baby diarrhea orange.
Oh, yuck.
It was really yucky. But that's a good little fact about Krone. I think that, and that we were kind of like, we made a manure spreader. We made some interesting products early on when we were trying to find our way, basically.
Yeah.
Until we found out our niche. At the risk of talking too much, I'll stick with that.
Yeah. Yeah, those are good. Yeah, the obviously the whole show is about colors, right? In farming. And so I always find it fascinating to see, to learn about that. And why do you think that brand loyalty in ag is so strong?
I think, not to get too cerebral here, but I think humans are drawn to they're drawn to security.
Yeah.
Think of the hierarchy of needs, security is pretty high up there. And I think that's an element. And I think also an element is people find comfort in what's familiar. And those are the 30,000 foot level. Now, if you boil it back down, I think a lot of it has to do with their relationship with their dealer, and their experiences with the equipment, frankly. Those two things, and they stand the test of time, I think, a lot of times. And it takes a lot to move somebody off brand.
Yes,
I think. And I would, in sales, you call that identifying someone's pain points and try to leverage that into getting them to your brand. But we really put a lot of time and effort into finding people that really would match our culture, match our value points. If someone's struggling to get 2 nickels together and they're only making 5 acres of hay, maybe buying a little Mickey Mouse hay implement is probably the right thing for them. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And there's no crime in that. That's okay. But if someone's a part-time farmer and they want to make hay and they don't want problems and they can afford better, a lot of our part-time people, they start with Krone pieces they purchase off secondary market, and they like it so much. I'm like, man, I can explain this to my wife. This is going to make sense, and she controls the money. If I tell her less downtime when we're tedding, I'm going to get a real tedder. I'm not going to get a tedder that I have to replace every year.
For sure.
Basically. Yeah. So that's pretty much how it goes. That's what I started 30,000 feet and worked my way down as to reason why people stick with brands. And I used Krone as an example, but I think the same could be true for other brands. They have similar experiences for sure.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. So down to the last question. And I know you live in the city, but I got to ask, what color is your tractor?
People are going to be shocked to hear this. I don't own a tractor, but all I have is a passion to work with and support the great people that feed the planet. And so I don't have a color of a tractor because I don't own a tractor, but I have nothing but respect for the people that own them and use them to feed this planet Earth. And there aren't a better group of people that I've ever been around, and I'm honored to be part of it. So I hope that answers that question. Am I the first person to ever not have a tractor?
No, you are definitely not the first yet.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's a relief. I was afraid I was going to mess up your whole thing. So.
Nope, not at all. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I like when there's sometimes you'll have a company that was started, or started by farmers or has a long history in farming, and they'll tell me a story about their first tractor. And that's always such a cool story too. And and they always get kind of dreamy and they talk about it like it's their friend. And I'm fascinated by that. Right.
I do have a funny story to share. Might be a good way to end this.
Sure.
Okay. In one of my first jobs in agriculture, I literally didn't know the difference between straw and alfalfa. That was how much I had to learn. I literally, my exposure to agriculture was what aisle is the food in? Okay. Seriously. Yes. And it's been a journey to learn this stuff. But this is a funny story about how this industry treats people like me. I was in Wisconsin at Wisconsin Farm Tech Days with a prior employer. The president of the company's with me, and I was the show was an outdoor show in a field. And coming from Pennsylvania, it's very common to see mature alfalfa fields. Okay, I'd never seen alfalfa in little rows like corn at the time. It was very new to me. So I said to the president, I said, Dennis, what's with the rows? What is that crop there? Because all I did is ask questions. I drove people nuts. I asked questions about everything. And like a little kid that goes, why? Why, Daddy? Why, Daddy? Well, to this day, I'm still asking these things. And so I said to him, what is that crop? Because that's alfalfa. I said, no way. Why is it in rows? He goes, well, that's new planted alfalfa. He reaches down, and there's little sticks that divide the lots on an outdoor show, like surveyor stakes. And there was a clump of this stuff. He reaches down, grabs it, twists it, rips it open and smells it. He goes, smell that. That's so sweet, man. He goes, the cows go crazy over that. And he takes a big bite of it.
Oh, wow.
And he hands it to me. So I take a big bite because he's the president of the company. I'm going to do what he says. He goes, taste that. It's so sweet. The cows go crazy for this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, this is great. So then he got in his plane and he flew up to he had to go somewhere else. Okay. He had to leave the show. Well, I'm sitting in the show trailer and I'm like, man, I'm having a hard time swallowing. And then I started coughing.
Oh, no.
Here I was having an allergic reaction. And to this day, I cannot drink Lipton citrus tea because I think I drank a case of it to wash that stuff down my throat and not end up in a hospital. So,
wow.
So yes, you're talking to someone that doesn't own a tractor, but he has in fact eaten fresh alfalfa.
That's right. You can't get closer to cows than that.
No, you can't. You can't. But I'll pass on the alfalfa and I'll just go to the salad bar from now on.
That's
so
a good
straight.
point.
But it was funny. I still laugh with Dennis to this day about that story. So, anyways, I really I appreciate you choosing Krone for this time.
Yeah,
I thank you
so much
for giving me a chance to tell a little bit of the Krone story. And anybody out there, go to your local dealer and ask about Krone. And I don't believe you'll be disappointed whatsoever. So
that's awesome. We'll have some links in the bio as well.
Great.
So people want to contact you right away and get in touch with Aiden and ask about the deer.
Please do that.
Yeah.
I believe when we're done, that's the first call I'm going to make.
Yeah.
So. Great.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and we'll talk soon.
No problem. Thanks. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for listening to What Color is Your Tractor? I hope you learned something new about the brand you love or hate. If you're a manufacturer who would like to apply to be featured on this show, please visit whatcolorisyourtractor.com/contact and fill out the form.